I think probably my big mistake was to seek medical help. And I do remember going away to Canada on business and my face just felt awful. It was sore, stinging. I couldn't even put water on it. It was so sore.
This is Linda's story, a story of how her desperate search for a skin cure led to the development of world-leading skin health pioneers, Jumo. Linda grew up in a Presbyterian family on the west coast of Scotland. Her commitment to helping others and improving the world came from her mother and her grandfather. One was an elder and the other was a minister in the Church of Scotland, while her creativity came from her father, a graduate of Charles Rennie Mackintosh's world-famous Glasgow School of Art. So how did it all start? Even though I'm sure she's sick of the sight of me, she is my mum, so I found it relatively easy to pin down a place and a time so we can have a chat to find out more. My first question was, when did her skin problems begin?
This is going back to, 2008. And I should say I'd always been quite an avid user of different skin creams just to try and improve my skin. But in 2008, I suddenly, for no reason, seemed to develop a horrible skin allergy.
So in 2008, what were the first steps you did to try and get rid of this allergy?
Well, I think probably my big mistake was to seek medical help. I went to the doctors and they duly prescribed a topical steroid cream. I came away and used that for a while, and there was a temporary improvement, and then it started to get worse again. And I do remember going away to Canada on business, and my face just felt awful. It was sore, stinging. I couldn't even put water on it. It was so sore. After that, it seems now I look back like a sort of progression of trying different things, and now I look back, it was ridiculous. I tried everything from over-the-counter creams to natural so-called balms that I ordered especially from niche companies to prescribed steroids, and the whole while my skin just seemed to be getting worse and worse and certainly not improving. So it also developed a kind of a rash. It seemed to transmute into different types of skin complaints. I was given antifungal creams and tablets, which didn't improve the skin. I eventually got an appointment with a specialist dermatologist, who said I had perioral dermatitis, and prescribed antibiotics, a course of antibiotics, and told me I'd have to take those for at least 6 months. So this was a progression over, I would say, probably a year or so. And at the same time, my skin just wasn't getting any better and was actually getting sorer.
So you're obviously recovered now and your skin's looking really good. But was there ever a turning point in 2008 which led to a breakthrough in getting rid of your skin allergy?
Well, the turning point, I think, was when we started to do our own investigations and look into it ourselves. And it was incredible. We discovered that there had been this huge increase over the past 50 to 100 years. This is in the Western world we're talking about, in the prevalence of allergic skin complaints such as eczema.
And here's just one graph that illustrates Linda's point. A 500% increase in childhood eczema in just 65 years. Children and adults alike all show the same disturbing trend in skin allergies. And it's a little known fact that the rate of increase in skin allergies over the last 10 years far outstrips the growth in food allergies. And this has been labelled a skin allergy epidemic, hasn't it? And it's just in the Western world. But at that time, during your research, were there any clear causes of this?
Well, despite the fact you've got to be careful about oversimplifying things, it just became clear through our research that the introduction of 20th century cosmetics was a major cause, and seemed to be causing a breakdown of the skin's natural condition due to the synthetic chemicals which were in the ingredients. So breaking down the skin's defences and causing a sort of hypersensitivity, or you could call it junk skin, which I now think is what I was suffering from. And prescriptions of antibiotics and steroids were responsible as well.
But surely doctors know this.
I think not. I think that's the big problem, that they're actually, on the whole, treating symptoms rather than the cause. And in general, they're actually treating people who are healthy and making them unhealthy through overprescription of steroids and antibiotics.
So using all of this knowledge you just pieced together, how did you then start to try and cure your skin allergy problems?
Well, you and Sam actually, spoke to your grandfather, who is a doctor, and he gave some really good advice. He said the only effective advice that his own mother had been given, this is going back some years, for her psoriasis, was to stop using all products, even soaps, and use a warm saltwater solution on the skin. Very simple advice. I remember I tried this, and wow, my skin felt so much better.
Yeah, I remember finding that really amazing, that everyday sea salt was a lot more effective than these powerful, expensive, prescribed drugs.
Well, it's incredible. I mean, your grandfather again described to us how the healing effects of salt water had been documented for thousands of years, and we're going back to the father of medicine, Hippocrates. And I mean, I always remember a brilliant story about Second World War pilots, the Battle of Britain pilots, who ditched in the sea, actually recovered far more quickly from their burns than those who ditched on land. Now that's got to tell us something, hasn't it, about the effects of sea water. And yet on the other hand, you know, when you look at a teaspoon of salt water, it's filled with millions of viruses, bacteria, and is supposedly, you know, unhealthy and could lead to dangerous infections of the skin if you put it on your skin. So it seemed like an absolute contradiction. And it really made us think that perhaps the modern living style, and compounded by the medical profession's sort of obsession almost with getting rid of bacteria and sanitizing, had led to a kind of breakdown of our natural defences, and that this was primarily a problem of the Western world living in over-sanitized conditions.
Yeah, I remember this extraordinary paradox and how it led to us developing the first prototype of Jumo.
Yes, amazingly it was your and Sam's understanding of non-linear physics that proved to be the key, and that health, we found, really is just an imbalance in an ecosystem. So to restore health to that system, you rebalance the ecosystem. So we started to look at the 60% of us, this is really funny, that isn't human, and that's the microbiome. And that was why we set up Jumo, really, to end the skin allergy epidemic in the Western world, and also to really bring about a new way of looking at health and healthy systems.
So as everyday cosmetics are a major contributor to the skin allergy epidemic in the Western world, this was why it was a prerequisite to create Jumo as the world's first ever 100% truly natural face wash. Isn't that right?
Definitely. I mean, we were just horrified by the deceit when we started to look into the labelling in the cosmetics industry, that so many things were labelled as natural when they weren't, and we knew that that was being deceitful to consumers, and that was the reason, one of the reasons, that Jumo had to be 100% natural and preservative free, because that's honest labelling. It says it's natural, and it is natural, but also it had to be that to restore the skin's microbiome.
And we succeeded in making Jumo both 100% truly natural and skin microbiome enhancing, didn't we? This was something that the billion-dollar cosmetics industry said was totally impossible.
Yes, I mean we did, which is amazing. I mean, Jumo works because it's natural, it doesn't damage the skin's microbiome, in fact it enhances it. And this actually was backed up with a groundbreaking study we did at the University of Graz in Austria, where they showed that Jumo improved the skin's microbiome in just 2 weeks, and therefore improved skin health.
So the million-dollar question, did Jumo help solve your chronic skin problems?
It definitely did. I mean, I can honestly say my skin's never been so healthy. And the other thing is that an unintended consequence was that I'd always had a bit of eczema on my hands, and because of using Jumo on my hands, that's been cured as well. I think actually it was great. We used the first prototype of Jumo when we made it on my skin, and that healed my skin microbiome, I'm sure. I think there were slight issues. I remember feeling a little bit of burning, a little bit of redness to begin with when I used Jumo, but after a little bit that went. The itching stopped, the redness started to go, and my skin really started to improve. The other good consequences of using Jumo and improving the skin were that I started to sleep better as well, because my skin wasn't itchy and sore, and finally I felt okay about really going out in public again, and meeting people with my skin looking so much better.
Jumo have become the world leaders in skin microbiome enhancing skin health products. If you too have been deceived by the cosmetics industry or failed by so-called health experts, and you're suffering from skin problems such as eczema, psoriasis, acne, or even skin cancer, enhancing your skin's microbiome biodiversity promises the potential for a long-term solution. Linda and all of us at Jumo want the rest of the world to benefit from our products, just as Linda and thousands of others already have.